We begin today the Gemara on Daf Ayin Amud Aleph, right at the beginning, the first line, that is. Geiri v'charuri. It said in the Mishnah that Asara Yuchsin, 10 different kinds of Yidden with different levels of Yichus came up with Ezra at Eretz Yisrael. So one of them, the Mishnah said, or two of them was Geiri v'charuri, the Geirim, and the ones that were freed. Min Allah, where do we see that they came up with Ezra? Amrav Chizde, da makra b'chol nivdal mitumas goye aretz aleim. In the pasuk there, where it says those that came with Yidden, it says those that were separated from tumas goye aretz to Yidden. So these are the Geirim, and also the Charurim, the ones that were freed, that came together with Yidden. Mamzeri, the Mishnah said that Mamzerim came to Eretz Yisrael. Minalan, where do we see in the pasuk that Mamzerim came with Yidden? Chsev is a pasuk, and this is actually a pasuk in Nehemiah. It's not speaking clearly about the aliyah of Yidden to Eretz Yisrael, but there's a pasuk that says Vayishma, that is Sambalat HaChairani V'Tuvya Eved HaAmayni, that they both heard, and there the pasuk speaking about that they heard about this, that Yidden want to build a Beis HaMikdash. Chsev, right before this, the pasuk says regarding Eved Tuvya Eved HaAmayni. So he's a Tuvya Eved HaAmayni, he's a guy. That Kirabim Yehuda Bali Shvu Eloi, there were many amongst the Yidden in Yehuda that were Bali Shvu to him, meaning that they got married to him or to his family. Ki Chosen Hu L'Shchanya Ben Eirach. This Tuvya, which was an Eved, was a son-in-law by Shchanya Ben Eirach. V'Yehochanan Benai, and the son, was a son-in-law by Shchanya Ben Eirach. Okay, Shchanya Ben Eirach was a Sarva Gadol, but his son-in-law was Tuvya. And Yehochanan Benai, Yehochanan, which was the son of this Tuvya, which was a guy, Lakach Asbas Mishlam Ben Brachya. He married the son of, the daughter that is of Mishlam Ben Brachya. So we see here clearly in the pasuk that both Tuvya and his son, which were Goyim, married into Klal Yisrael. Now the Gemara explains, Kasovar, the Tana of our Mishnah holds that Oivik Echadin ve'Eved Haba Bas Yisrael, that a guy or an Eved Kanani that marries a Bas Yisrael, Havlad Mamzer, the child's a Mamzer. So here we see that Goyim married into Yidden, and therefore the children born are Mamzerim. So that's how we know that Mamzerim came up from Bavel.
Who holds Eved Haba?
The Mishnah that says that Mamzerim came up from Bavel. So this is the source, this pasuk, and it's speaking about Goyim marrying into Yidden, and the children that are born are Mamzerim.
The Mishnah never said that source.
No. But this is the Gemara saying this is the source. So on this, the Gemara asks, first of all, this is only a good source according to the opinion that says that a guy that marries a Yid, the child's a Mamzer. But according to the opinion that says that the child is not a mamzer, the vlad is kosher, and we had this at the end of the previous perek. The Gemara said over there that the child will not be a mamzer, the child's kosher. So you don't have here a source of the mamzerim in Klal Yisrael. V'su, another question on this source here is, Mimai dahavale bani. How do you know? It says here that this Tuvya, which was a guy, married into Klal Yisrael, and his son married into Klal Yisrael. But it doesn't say in the pasuk that they had children. Maybe they didn't have any children. Maybe they didn't have any children. V'su, a third question on this source. How do you know that they were here in Bavel and they went up to Eretz Yisrael? It's a pasuk in Nehemiah. It's not speaking about the aliyah of Yidden to Eretz Yisrael. Maybe Tuvya was, and there was a Yidden, those were people that were in Eretz Yisrael. They never came up from Bavel B'chlal. So this is not a good source to say that there were Mamzerim amongst Yidden. Ella says the Gemara Mehacha.
A certain person who was there was here.
We don't know. It just says that Tuvya Eved HaAmayni was amongst the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael, but it doesn't say that he came up from Bavel. It's a pasuk in Nehemiah. Ella says the Gemara Mehacha. The Raya is from this pasuk here, where it speaks about the Yidden that came up to Eretz Yisrael. So it says Ve'ele ha'olim, they came, and it says where did they come from? Mitel melach tel charsha. A tail, a mound of salt, and a tail charsha, a place that was plowed. Kruv, this is a continuation of that pasuk. Kruv ve'adn ve'imar. That's the pasuk. The Gemara is going to explain each part of this pasuk now. And they cannot say who their father is, and vizaram im Yisraelim, and also their descendants couldn't say who their mother is. So what does this pasuk mean? It says they came from Tel Melach. Regarding all other Yidden that came from Bavel, it never says where they came from exactly. All of a sudden here it says Tel Melach. So the Gemara says it's not only a name of a place. This is hinting to the Mamzerim. Tel melach elu b'nei yadam. This refers to people shedaimim ma'aseim l'maises daim. They're similar to the people of Zdaim, where they marry one each other, even the Eishes Ish, and then the children that are born are mamzerim. So that's why it says melach, shenepcha letel melach. Zdaim was turned over and it became into a mound of salt. Tel charsha, what does it mean? What's the remez here? That the name, the place is Tel charsha. Zeh shekoira abba. This is someone that calls his father v'imim mishas kasei, and his mother quiets him. Charsha means to be quiet, cheresh, to be quiet, because we don't know who the father is. The mother had a relation with someone and we don't know who the father is. And that's why they can't say who their father is. And then the Zaram im Yisrael heim, so they don't know who their mother is. Zeu asufi shenesaf min hashuk. This refers to an asufi, that an abandoned child that was brought in from the marketplace, and you don't know who the father is and not who the mother is. Then the pasuk says weiter that kiruv adoin v'imer. What does this mean? Amar abavo. Amar Odoin, the Eibishter, the master said, so that's what Odin here in the pasuk is, the Eibishter, I said, that says the Eibishter, Yi Yisrael Lefonech Hashuvim Kekruv, that the Yidden should be prominent by me like a kruv. The kruv, Rashi says, refers to the Chayis HaKadosh, the Malachim that are called kruv. But for him, somewhat from kenemer. Instead, Yidden are acting like a nemer, which is a leopard, and it's a chaya that's not careful b'chlal with its spouse. It allows the spouse to go and do whatever it wants. Hikidamri, another pshat in this pasuk, in this last part of this pasuk, what it means when it says kruv odin v'imer. Rabavo Amar, that Rabavo said odin. What it means is the master afapi Amar odin, that is the master. The Eibishter said afapi shesomu atzmam kenemer. Even though Yidden are acting and they become like a leopard, nevertheless, the Eibishter says the Yidden are still prominent by me like a krov, like the Malachim. Okay, now here starts the Gemara going into Bechlal, this whole inyan of marrying psulim and things similar to that. The whole story here, as we'll see. Person that marries a wife that's not appropriate for him. In other words, he marries someone that's puzzle. The Torah considers it as if he plowed the whole world and planted it and put in salt there. Here, when it speaks about the psulim that came from Bavel, these mamzerim, this was the source for the Mishnah, that they were mamzerim. So it calls it tel melach, tel charsha, a person that gets married to someone that he's not allowed, and then the children are mamzerim, so he's marba mamzerim, so he creates a terrible mixture in the world. So this is like tel melach in the world. Person that gets married to a woman, and this means he's getting married to her even though she's puzzle, but he's only marrying her for her money. He'll have children that are not good children. The pasuk says, "Bashem Bogodu." They were traitors in the Eibishter. Kibonim zarim yoladu, and they give birth to children that are not good children. And so the Bogdu here means that they marry women that are puzzle. V'shema toimar momim pola. You think that the money that he married her for, that he'll keep, that'll have. Talmud Laim, the pasuk that continues and says, "Ata yechlem chaydish as chalkeim," that it'll be destroyed every month. The chalkeim, the portion of money that she brought in. So the Gemara teaches here the details of this pasuk. V'shem toimar chalkei v'le chalka. Maybe only the portion that he has, and not her portion of money. The money that a woman brings into marriage, that Rashi here brings, what we learned in the Gemara in Ksubis, there's Nichsei Tzeim Barzel, where the husband gets the whole thing, and then there's Nichsei Malug, which still belongs to her, he could just use it. So you would think maybe his portion gets destroyed and not hers. Talmud Leim Chalkeihem, it says Chalkeihem, both her and his part of the money, all will get destroyed. The Shemet Toimel is man merube. Maybe you would think that this happens only over a long period of time. Talmud Leim Chaydish, it says by the end of the month goes out and the money's gone. My mashma Rav Nachman by Yitzchak Chaydish nichnas v'Chaydish yaitze. The new Chaydish comes in and the previous Chaydish goes out, and the money that he married her for is all gone. Person that marries a wife that's not appropriate for him, apostle a wife, Eliyahu ties him, and the Eibishter is slaps him, the Eibishter gives him malchus. And Tana, we learned in Abraisa, Al Kulam, regarding all of these that marry someone that's puzzle, Eliyahu writes the following here, and the Eibishter signs it. What does Eliyahu write? Woe to the person that pasels, says this is children, ulopaigim is mishpachtoi, and brings a blemish to his family, ulenois isha shene geneslei, and marries a wife that's not appropriate for him. And then Eliyahu ties him and the Eibush just gives him malchus. Now, v'chola paisel, another thing, person that goes around and is passeling other families. He says that this family is possible, that family is possible. He's in this habit of saying that other families are possible. So, possible, he himself is possible. A person that he himself is possible, he can't find praise. He doesn't speak about praise about anybody else. So if he's passing everybody else, it's a simon that he himself is possible. If he's paisel others and says, oh, this family is a eved, this family is mamzedim, he's really passeling because he himself has that mum, he himself is paisel.
What's the difference?
What's the difference between what and what? Chala paisel paisel. Yeah, same minion. It sounds like the same minion.
It's the same soul.
Okay, yeah, he's saying it's the same soul. Okay. B'mumay paisel, right? It's his same soul. Hahu gavre. So there was a person from Nerda. So he was in Pumpedise, and he came into the butcher house, and he told them, Havali bisra, give me meat. So they told him, not to wait, ad shokol, Shamed Rav Yehuda bar Yecheskel, until the servant of Rav Yehuda bar Yecheskel, which we'll see soon, Rav Yehuda bar Yecheskel was from the greatest Amayroim. So he was there, he sent Shamish there to go and pick up meat for him. So let's first serve him, and then we'll give you, the Nesivlach will give you. So Amar, this person says, Man Yehuda bar Shviskel. Who's Yehuda, the son of Shviskel? Shviskel means a person that eats roasted meat. In other words, he was embarrassing Rav Yehuda, that sent someone to pick up meat for him. The Kodim Li, he comes before me. The Shakal Mekamoi, he takes before me. That's what happened. Now, Ozlu, so they went, Omr Leila Rav Yehuda, they told Rav Yehuda that this person went and embarrassed you, and he didn't allow the shliach, he did go and take the meat before him. So what did he do? So Shamte, he put him into Cherim. Then they told to Rav Yehuda, Rogel the Kari Inchi Avdi. This person has a habit that he calls other people an Eved. He passels people, he says, you're an Eved, you're an Eved. So Achres Alei, the Avdu. So Rav Yehuda went and announced that everybody should know that this person is an Eved. He passeled him. So what happened? Azlahu, this person went, Azmane Ledine Lekamed Rav Nachman. He went and he got him invited or summons for a din teire by Rav Nachman that you came and you gave me a name of an Eved. How are you allowed to do this, to give me such a name that I'm an Eved? I see Piske the Hazmane. So he brought a paper of the Hazmane, of the summons to come for a din teire. Also, Rav Yehuda, so Rav Yehuda gets this invitation for a din teire for what he did. So Rav Yehuda went to Rav Huna, Amalei, he tells Rav Huna, Ezel, I lo Ezel. Should I go to this din teire or should I not go to this din teire? Amalei, so Rav Huna told him, Mezel, lo bayalach lo Mezel. The emphasis that you don't have to go to the din teire in front of Rav Nachman because you're greater than Rav Nachman, Shum de Gavre Rabat, you're a very great person, because he was the Rosh Hashiva in Pumpedisa. Rav Nachman was not even the Rosh Hashiva there. Rav Nachman was the Rosh Hashiva in Nerda. And he was a dying over there. But now here the Gemara is going to tell us what. Nevertheless, Ela Mishum Yikara, the Bein Nesiyah Kumzil. But because of the honor for the Bein Nesiyah, the Nasi in that time, Rav Nachman was the son-in-law by the Nasi. So for the honor of the Nasi, so you should go to the din teire, that Rav Nachman, you got this summons to go to the din teire. Kumzil, go. So Asa, he came to Rav Nachman, Ashkeche, he finds Rav Nachman. What's Rav Nachman doing? The Ka'ovid Maike. He's building a fence around his roof. There's a mitzvah to make a makkah, and Rav Nachman is making this fence. Okay, so Rav Yehuda is talking to Rav Nachman. Amalei, Rav Yehuda tells Rav Nachman, why are you doing this here by yourself? Leisovel amar lahodomer Rav Huna bar Idi. Oma Shmuel, do you not hold what it was said in the name of Shmuel, that kivin shenismana odam parnes al tzibur, when a person is in a situation or in a position of leadership over the people, so he has to keep his dignity, he has to keep his honor. Aser ba'asiyas malacha b'fnei shloisha. He's not allowed to go and do such kind of work in front of other 3 people. So you shouldn't be doing this work here and building this fence on your roof. Amalei, so Rav Nachman answers him, Porte de gunderise hudeka avidna. I'm building over here a small fence, which is a fence just high 10 tfachim, which is what's required for the mitzvah of a maike. So I'm basically telling him, I'm doing the mitzvah of maike. Gunderisa means a maike. I'm doing a mitzvah, so that's why I'm doing it myself. So the language that Rav Nachman spoke in, Rav Yehuda tells him, Omalei, mi sanya maike, d'chsiv b'iraisa. Is it hated to you? Do you not like the expression that the Torah says, that the mitzvah is called the mitzvah of maike? Oy mechitze, or maybe you could refer to it as a mechitze, damar rabbanon. That's the expression the Gemara says. What's this language you're speaking in over here? Gunderise. What does this mean, gunderise? Okay. Then Amalei, Rav Nachman tells Rav Yehuda, Yosef mar akarfite. Sit down on a bench. No, come sit down. Again, he used up this lashon karfita, which is a very unusual lashon. Amalei, why are you speaking this way? You misani safsel damar rabbanon. Do you not like the language that Rabbanan usually say, which is a bench is a safsel, or itztabe, damri yinshi, or a lashon itztabe that people usually say? Weiter, Amalei, Rav Nachman tells Rav Yehuda, lechol mar esrunge. Won't you eat something? You eat esrunge, which is a esrig. Again, he used a very modern, strange expression, esrunge. Amalei, hachi amashmul. So he said that Shmuel said, kol ha'ime esrunge. Person that speaks this way and refers to an esrog with this expression of esrunge, tilse beramis rucha. A third of his character has gaiva in it, and therefore he speaks this way. Oy esreg kid you are rabbanon. Either you refer to it as an esreg, like the rabbanon always refer to it, oy esrega, or esrega, damri yinshi, like people say, well, esrunge, that's an expression that only it shows in gaiva. Weiter Amalei, Rav Nachman tells him, Lishti mar anvege. Why don't you drink some anvege, which is some kind of asparagus drink that is brought in Gemara in different places. So again, he used a different expression, anvege. Amalei, misani is asparagus. The Kariyur Rabbanon, the Rabbanon usually refer to this drink as asparagus. Why don't you refer to it that way? Or ampuk, damri yinshi, or amfik, the way people refer to it. So constantly, Rav Yehuda is basically pointing out to Rav Nachman that you're not speaking the way you should be speaking. Amalei, Rav Nachman tells Rav Yehuda, Teisi Dainak Tishkinon. Let Dainak, which was his daughter, come and let her come and serve us. Amalei, so Rav Yehuda says, no, your daughter shouldn't be serving us. This is what Shmuel said. You're not allowed to use a woman to come and serve the men. That's something to know. When you make a simcha, you shouldn't have women waitresses as a shteta. Isha, you shouldn't have. Okay, so he says ketanehi. She's a ketana. So there's nothing over here. The issur of having a ketana serving is not a problem. So he said no. Befeidish oma Shmuel. Shmuel clearly said, "Ein mishtamshim beisha klal ben gedayla ben ketana." You're not allowed to have a isha served, not a gedayla, not a ketana. Okay, so he caught him again with a mistake. Further, Rav Nachman asks Rav Yehuda, Nishtele mar shlama Yalta. Is the master of Yehuda, are you interested in sending a greeting to my wife, Yalta? Amalei, so Rav Yehuda says, Hachi Yama Shmuel. Shmuel said, Kol Beisha Erva. That to hear the voice of a woman is a erva. So if I'm going to greet her, she's going to talk back to me, so I don't want to hear her voice. This is something that the Paiskim discussed, because usually Kol Beisha Erva is only brought b'negeh to singing. Here the Gemara brings it b'negeh to greeting. So the Beis Shmuel says in Ebenezer that usually the voice of a woman is not erva unless she's singing, but by greeting you do say kol bisha erva. That's what you see from this Gemara. When you're not allowed to greet a woman, stamazay, because kol bisha erva, as you see here. So Rav Nachman says, okay, so you don't want to greet her directly. Efshal yedei shliach. You could send a greeting to her through a shliach. Amalei, so Rav Yehuda says, no. Shmuel said, Ein shoyelim b'shalom isha. You're not allowed to send any greeting to a woman, not even through a shliach, because it might bring a closeness to this woman. So Rav Nachman says, Ayedei baila, you can send a greeting to her through myself, through her husband. Amalei hachiyam Shmuel. Shmuel said, Ein shoyelim b'shalom isha. You don't send any greeting to a woman, klal, not at all, not through a shliach, not through her husband either. His woman apparently was there in the other room or wherever it is. She was hearing what's going on over here, that Rav Nachman is getting all caught up with Rav Yehuda is catching him. One mistake, another mistake. Sholchale de Bisu, so his wife Yalta sends to Rav Nachman and says to him, Shari le tagre, that finish up the business with him, that he shouldn't turn you to like a person that's am haaretz. He's catching you with all these mistakes.
Because he didn't speak.
Because he was called Hadin Torah.
He was called Hadin Torah. And Rabbi Yehuda here was wanted to show to Rav Nachman, you're calling me to Hadin Torah. So he's showing Rav Nachman, look at your own behavior, all these different things that he's pointing out to him. So Rav Nachman wants to wrap it up with Rav Yehuda. He says to him, what are you doing here? Why did you come to me? So I told him, what do you mean what I'm doing here? Taskir the Hasmanusa Shada Mar Abasra. You sent me a summons to come for the Torah. Amalei, so Rav Nachman says, Hashta Shusa the Mar Legamirna Taskir the Hasmanusa Meshatner Lamar. I can't even speak in your language. I'm not on your level, B'chlal. I'm lower than you. I'm going to come and send you a Hasmana for the Torah. So Apik Diskid Hasmanusa Mibechadya. He took out from his pocket. He says, look here. This is the Hasmana. This is the summons that I got to come to you for Din Torah. And he said, Amalei ha Gavra v'ha Daske here. This is the man here. I'm here, and this is the Hasmana for the Din Torah. Okay. So Rav Nachman says, Amalei. So Hayil v'ha lahacha. So if you hear already, Lishtoi Milei. So let's go through this. Let's speak about this Din Torah here, so that people shouldn't say Machnefi Rabbanan Ahadadi, that the Rabbanan cover up for one another. So let's hear the answer for this Hasmana of the Din Torah. Explain what you did. Amalei, so Rav Nachman says to Rav Yehuda, my time is Shamtim Mar Lahu Gavra. Why did you put this person into Chayrim? That's what the Din Torah is about. So he answered him, because Sir Shlichad Rabbanan, he was Mitzayer, a shliach of a rabbanan. I sent a shliach to the store to pick up something for me, and he was mitzayer. So he deserves to be. He deserves to be in chayrim. So Rav Nachman says, "V'nagdei mar." You should get malchus for this. The Rav manged al man the mitzayer shluchad rabbanan. Rav would give malchus to someone that gives any tzar to a shliach coming from the rabbanan. So he said, "David binei of delay." I did something that's more than just malchus. I put him into chayrim. Another thing now, Rav Nachman asks him, "My time achres mar alei davduhu." Why did you make an announcement on him that he's an eved? Amalei, because the rogel, the kariyan shiavdi, because this person, he goes and refers to everyone as an eved. And the Tani, we learned in the Braisa, kol hapaisel, pasel. Person that pasels others, that means that he's pasel. And he can't speak the praise of anyone forever. Shmuel says, the mum that he has himself, that's what he pasels others with. Okay, so that was the reason why he said, I announced that he's an Evet. So Rav Nachman said, what did Shmuel say? That you have to be chayshish. If you want to get married to him or his children, you have to be chayshish that he might be puzzled. That's what Shmuel was saying. Did Shmuel say that you have to make such an announcement, yet you definitely know that this person is an Evet? Now, meanwhile, they're having this discussion. So this individual that the Din Torah is about came here. So this person came to Rav Yehuda and he says to him, you're referring to me as an Evet Kanani, you know what my yichus is? I come from the Chashminoim. Once he said this, so now Rav Yehuda said, this is what Shmuel said, anybody that says that he comes from the Chashminoi, Avdahu. We know that he's an Evet. Because the story over there was that the Hordes killed out all the descendants of the Chashminoim, and there was one girl that was left, and they wanted to marry her and then have the Yichus should come from the Chashminoim. She went up to a rooftop, she announced and said, whoever's going to say that they come from the Chashminoim is an Evet, and she jumped down, she died, and there was nobody left from the Chashminoim. The Ramban, the famous Ramban al he says that this was a einish for the Chashminoim because they took the Melucha, the Zman by Sheni, even though the Melucha does not belong to the Kainim, it belongs really to Yehuda, Le'yasser Shevit mi Yehuda, and they went and they took the Melucha for themselves. So this, even though they did great things in their time, but later on, this was their einish that the Chashminoim were completely wiped out. Okay, so therefore, basically this person uncovered the fact, he himself comes and says that he's Mibeis Chashminoi, so we know now that he's Taka and Evet. Okay, but Rav Nachman is still trying to support this person. Do you not, as the master here of Yehuda, do you not hold any Talmud Chacham that comes and says over a halacha of certain psak din, im kaida ma'isa amra, if you're going to say this psak din that you heard before a story that happened, shaymelo, we can trust you that this is what the halacha that you heard, that this is true. But then lav, if you're only saying over this halacha after a story that already happened, then shaymelo, we don't listen to you because maybe you're only saying the psak din that you heard because of the story that happened. So over here, you're saying over this halacha about anyone that says that he comes in Beis Chashmonai, that he's an Eved, you're saying it now after the story over here, we can't trust you. So Amalei, Rav Yudah says, Rav Masna. Look, his mazel, Rav Masna was there. The Koi Kavasi, Rav Masna will tell you that what I'm saying is true. Now the Gemara says this mazel that he had, that Rav Masna was there, Punk Den and Pumpedise, Rav Masna, or actually Nerdo he was. Rav Masna, Lechazil in Nerdo, Tleisa Shani. Rav Masna did not come visit Nerdo for 13 years already. That day Punkti came. Amalei, so he says to Rav Masna, Dochemar, Mayoma Shmuel, do you remember what Shmuel said? What he said before, that Shmuel said, and when did Shmuel say, Kikar Chad, Kara Aguda, he was standing and he was with one foot on the edge by the river, the Chad Kara Mavre, and with another foot he was on the bridge, or Mavre maybe is a ferry. And then what did Shmuel say? Yes, he said, yeah, Amalei, Rav Masna said, yeah, Hachiyama Shmuel, this is what Shmuel said, Kol Dom the Beis Chashmonai, Malka Kasine, Avduhu. Whoever says they come from Chashmonai is an Eved. And here the Gemara brings the kids to the story. There was only left, after Hordas killed all the Beis Chashmonai, there was one girl that was left. The Salkaligre, then she went off to her rooftop, and she screamed and announced, whoever's going to say that they come from Chashmonai, Avduhu, you should know that he's an Eved, because they must come from Hordas, they come, which was all from Avadim. Nafla me'igra misa, and she threw herself down and she died. So so they announced on this person here that he's an Eved. So now it was clear, it was confirmed, this person there that got into this fight with Rav Yehuda, it was an Eved. So that day, there were different ksubas of marriages that were from this person's family. So we now know that there weren't good marriages. B'chlal, these are children from Eved Kananis. So they tore up these ksubas, the marriages were not marriages. When Rav Yehuda was leaving the city of Nedah, so people were following Rav Yehuda. They wanted to stone him to death for what he did, that he uncovered over here the psul of this family. So Rav Yehuda turned back to them and said, listen, Isha tiku, if you're going to be quiet, shtiku will be good. Everything will be quiet. If you're not going to be quiet, Maglina alaychu, I'm going to reveal Hadam Shmuel, this is what Shmuel said. Tarti Zaryasa Ikke ben Erda. There are two families in Erda. Chadam Ekraya, the Bey Yoina. One family is called Bey Yoina. The Chadam Ekraya, the Bey Orvisi. And another family is called Bey Orvisi. So there's a Yoina and there's a Eiriv. The Simonach, and the Simon is, one family is kosher and one family is not. And the Simon is Tomei, the Eiriv, which is a Tomei bird, so that family is Tomei or is not kosher. And Tar, the family which is Yaina, which is called Yaina, is Tar. So this is, he said, I'll be Megala this. The Mashal here says, he didn't actually say this to them, because if he said this to them, so he was already Megala this. He said, the Gemara is telling us, he said, I could be Megala to you, the two not kosher families in your city, so be careful. So, sorry, it's one not kosher families, exactly. So what happened? They were afraid. Shadyu lahu rigma miyadayu. All these rocks they brought to throw at him and to stone him, they threw it down from there. They had so many rocks that become atme benar malka. They stuffed up the river over there, Nar Malka. It got all stuffed up. That's the end of the story. Now the Gemara says, Machres Rav Yehuda bePumpedisa. Rav Yehuda was the Rosh Hashiva in Pumpedisa. So in Pumpedisa he announced that Ada v'Yonasan Avdi. The families of Ada and Yonasan, they're Avodim. Yehuda bar Pape, the family of Yehuda bar Pape, Mamzede, they're Mamzedim. Bati bar Tuvye, Beromas Ruche, Bati bar Tuvye, because of his gaive, Lishakol Gitu de Cherusa. He wasn't ready to get a star shechra to be freed, and he really is an Evet Kanani. Machris Rave b'Mechuza. Rave, he lived in the city Mechuza, so he announced, Baloi, Danoi, Taloi, Maloi, Zagoi, all these families, Kulom Lipsul. They're all puzzle. Amar Rav Yehuda said, Goivoi, the families of Goivoi, they're really Givaini. They come from the Givaini. The Givainim, which were from the 7 nations of Eretz Yisrael, they were apostle. Dornonisa, Daroi, Nisinoi. These are the people that come from Daroi, which were Nisinoi. These are the Nisinim, which are also Megayad, and they're also apostle. Amar Rav Yosef said, Hi, Beikuvi, the Pumbedisa, the Beikuvi, this is a town that's near Pumbedisa, that's called Beikuvi. Kulam the Avdi. All the people living there, they're all Avadim Kanano, they're not kosher. Amar Rav Yudah Amar Shmuel, Rav Yudah said the name of Shmuel, Arba Meis Avadim. There were 400 Avadim. Vamir Arba Salafim Avadim, or 4,000 Avadim. Hoyeloi lefashcher ben Imar. Fashcher ben Imar had. Now Fashcher ben Imar is mentioned in the pasuk in Yirmiyah, where it speaks about how Yirmiyah came to say the Nevuah about the Churban Beis HaMikdash that's going to happen, and he was from the Kohanim that was in charge of everything in the Beis HaMikdash, and he had a lot of Avadim that were helping him, whether 400 or 4,000. And what happened is, all of his Avadim, the Kulam Nitmu B'Kohuna, they all got assimilated and mixed into the family of Kohanim. And the Chokayin Sheyesh Be'azis Panim, when you see a Kohen that has Azis Panim, you should know that he comes really, he's not a Kohen, he comes from this family of these Avadim that will mix into the Kohanim. Amar Abaye said about them, where are they? Kulam Yasvim B'Shurad de B'Nerda. They're all sitting inside the walls of the city of Nerda. That's where this family that was mixed in with these Avadim live. Some are guys B'Shukad de Nerda, on the market of Nerda. Now the Gemara says in this, but Uplige de Rabbi Lazar. This argues on what Rabbi Lazar said. Amar Rabbi Lazar said, if you see a Kohen that has a brazenness to him, you shouldn't think that maybe, he comes from this family of Avadim. Because no, it says B'chlal this about a Kohen. Shenema va'amcha k'merive Kohen. That your nation is like the Kohenim that are merive, that fight, that have azas metzach. So this is the nature of a Kohen. So therefore it's not a raya that they come from Avadim Kananim. Amar Abavin Baravade Amarav. Kalanoisi Isha Sheina. Again, it's like going back to what this whole thing began with. A person that marries a wife that's not allowed, that's a puzzle. When the Eibishter dwells with his Shechina upon Yidden, made al kol shvatim, the Eibishter testifies on all shvatim that they're kosher and they're good. But ve'ein made olam, he's not made on this person. Shenema shifte ka, edus li Yisrael. Ka is the edus for the Yidden that they're kosher. Emesav edus li Yisrael bezman shashvatim shifte ka. When Yidden are shifte ka, then the Eibishter is the edus on the Yidden. But otherwise, there's no edus of the Eibishter on the Yidden. Amar Rav Chama v'Rab Chanin, Keshakadosh Baruch Hu mashre shchinase, when the Shechina dwells on Yidden, ein mashre ela al mishpachas b'yichas sheb'Yisrael. It only dwells on Yidden that have a proper yichas. Shenema ve'esei noam Hashem eyel elikim l'chol mishpachas Yisrael. And the families of Yidden, l'chol Yisrael enema. It doesn't say if they're Yidden, but it says l'chol mishpachas, the mishpachas of Yidden. V'hema yili la'am, and they will be my people. Amar Rabba Baravuna. When it says here, the pasuk says, "Vehema yili la'am zu maila yiseira yesh ben Yisrael legadim." In this pasuk, you see certain advantage that Yidden have over Gadim. The hilu be Yisrael ksiv, by Yidden it says, "Bohu vayisi lahem lelekim." The Eibishter says, "I will be for them for God," and then only afterwards, "Vehema yili la'am," and they'll be my people. So the Eibishter is unconditionally. The Eibishter is saying first that I'm going to be for them lelekim. But Vilu begadim ksiv, and by gadim it says there in the pasuk the opposite. Mi yuzeh orav li es liboy lageshes elai noam Hashem, the one that come close to me, the gadim, and then it says v'yisem lila, you will be my people. So it starts off v'yisem, that you'll be my people. And then afterwards it says v'neichei elechem b'lekim, that I'll be for you for lelekim. Amar Abchel boy kashim gadim li Yisrael kesapachas. Gadim are difficult for Yidden like a sapachas, which is a tzaras. Shenama v'nilva ager alechem v'nispuchu al-beis Yaakov. V'nispuchu literally means that it'll be added or connected to Beis Yaakov. But here the Gemara teaches ksiv hacha v'nispuchu, ksiv asna v'lesa'es v'lesapachas. So this shows an inyan of a tzaras. Is there from Pshatim here? Why kosher gadim li Yisrael? Rashi here says the reason is because we're speaking about not the ger that kosher. We're speaking about gadim that are not careful with mitzvahs, and those that are going to be together with these gadim are going to learn from them. So one pshat. Others say that the gadim kosher li Yisrael. Rashi Taisus over here says that the gadim is the reason why Yidden are in Golus. The only reason Yidden went into Golus is only because of the gadim. So therefore, this brought tzaras to Yidden. Another pshat that it says over here in Taisus. There's other pshatim over here that the Rishonim say about this. Taisus over here brings not mishpachas miyuchasais. Okay, kapanim. Simon Mitaif. Yeah.